Okay, so let's get social. The first step in making a good social media strategy is to actually create content that people want to see. So you can start off by perhaps with Joomla creating tutorials. One of the things that I'm going to be doing in coming weeks is documenting all the things that I was talking about in my workshop the other day and the things I was talking about in this morning's presentation and all of this into individual tutorials, putting them on my site, tweeting them out with the #Joomla tag, and that should see lots of people hopefully wanting to come and see it and generating content for the site. You can create multimedia like this, or SlideShare is another good example. So anyone that's done their PowerPoints for the presentations today, if you upload that to SlideShare, that's a social network that's specifically for distributing education content. And so by putting that, you've got a feed of content that you can then put on your blog and put into articles. You can create infographics. Who knows what an infographic is? Okay, an infographic is basically it's a large graphic that gets virally circulated, and the best one relating to Joomla that I've seen is actually a flow chart that says, should I upgrade to Joomla 2.5? And it goes through a yes-no combination and gets down to the point where it says, yes, you need to upgrade because of all the reasons you've said, or no, you can wait, your site's not really ready to go yet. So I'm sure that someone will come up with one that says, should I upgrade to 3.0 soon? And that will more than likely get some distribution. Upload videos. Who's got a YouTube channel? Who's got more than 10 videos on it? More than 50? More than 100,000 views? That's why I looked at yours, it was what, 400, 500? Yeah. So the Saxon channel, we're regularly putting videos up of speakers doing things. We've got over 250 videos now, and we've just eclipsed 750,000 video views. And all those videos are tied into our profile content for the speakers. And so then when we tweet about a speaker or profile a speaker online on social media, one of the things we can link back to is their video page rather than to their YouTube page, because when they come back to the video page, it'll then have other links on the site that lets them make an inquiry or make them find out more about the speaker or their availability. So by doing that, you're not losing traffic to YouTube. You're able to hold it by directing whatever you're publishing back onto the website rather than having it go off somewhere else. Creating blog posts is a logical progression there. So what we do at Saxon is then put all that content into a blog post. So if someone's doing something interesting, and I've got a large amount of work to do this coming Friday, if you know what's on Saturday, and you know what's announced on Friday night? Anyone? You can win a hat. And so what's announced on Friday night? Yes, so I'll have to do an article on the Saxon site on Friday night about who the Australian of the Year is and get social penetration, because most of the finalists are actually speakers at Saxon, and so we can then find out who it is and link it back into our profile content. News items and blog posts are to a certain degree the same thing at times, so you can actually have it so that so on the Saxon site we've actually got a blog and a news page, and the news page is just articles that have a newsworthiness to them. The blog items are tips for how to become a better public speaker, tips on sales techniques, tips on all sorts of things depending on who the speaker is that's writing the blog for us. So we're, to a certain degree, have guest blogs on our site, and we're about to do a bit more with that with the next version of the site, to have things like excuse me, better commenting systems, better author tag profiling, things like that. So then there becomes a full circle of possible backlinks from Google for authoring. Photo galleries, another one that can quite often bring people to your site. So I've just done the site for the Herald Sun bike tour, and one of the features on that site was that they put all the press photos from the PR company onto the site every afternoon, and so that attracted a fair bit of traffic for that. You can survey your audience with social media, so you create, or the way that I would do it, would be create the survey, create a blog link pointing to the survey and inviting people to participate, and then social media that. And you'll all experience that because that's how we're doing the survey for the post-conference questionnaire. And then you can also provide opinions on topics, and also in your participation in social media, you can go and put that, you can go to other sites and link back to your site and provide an opinion. One of the things I do on the Joomla forum and a couple of extension forums might be that I write a tutorial and then go to that, or sorry, write a tutorial in answer of a question that's posted on a forum, and then post that link to that blog post or the tutorial post onto that, giving my opinion on their question, and that drives traffic back to my site. So one of my, actually the leading post on my website is a blog post I did 3 years ago when I spent an agonising 24 hours working out what the hell happened when I upgraded PHP and still had Joomla 1.0 sites. And it instantly broke about 5 things, and so my blog post has now helped 87 people that have bothered to comment on it, so there's probably more that have been helped from it. And that has then driven more content. And having comments and things like that on the bottom of your post actually then means that Google can come and find more information and make it a reliable source. And so I think the traffic profile on that page actually has gone up because of that, and it actually comes in page 1 for Google. If you Google something like Joomla 1.0 PHP 5.3 issues, and my post will be there and has all the things you need to do in case you ever have that problem. So that's all the things to do with creating great content. And then the next step is what you need to do in Joomla. So on your general blog pages, you will probably find that by default the RSS feed is turned on, and you can normally see that up on the browser address bar on the right hand side. There'll be the little RSS icon, and it'll give you options for a Atom feed or a regular RSS feed. So as soon as you've got one of those feeds, you can customise what that URL is going to be, and grab that and then use it for syndication tools, which I'll show you in a second. Optimising your metadata for keywords. This is all part of the overall SEO strategy, and you'll find that a percentage of stuff that happens with search engine optimization relates also to social media optimization. So if you were going to grab a link from your blog and post it on your LinkedIn page, when you post it on LinkedIn, and same thing happens with Facebook, the description that it goes and grabs when it finds the page is actually the meta description tag for the page. So if you're only using your generic site-wide meta description, you're going to get the site-wide meta description appearing on the post rather than keyword-rich, context-sensitive text that means that your followers on whichever social network are then going to be wanting to read that topic. Utilising publishing dates is a great way to speed up the process and actually end up being able to process a lot of content quickly for distribution over a long period of time. So where we've got this 6-week strategy at the moment, we're actually going to be able to write all the articles for that 6-week strategy next week, schedule them all to come out on particular dates, and then we'll also then have it automatically syndicate and publish, and then we'll also schedule follow-up tweets on certain topics using Hootsuite. You should always, if you have got all your social network channels up, you should always link to those channels. So we've got the 4 main ones on the Saxton website, the LinkedIn page, Twitter page, the Facebook page, and our YouTube channel. And so ideally we're getting followers through people being able to like the page, join those, follow on those pages straight from our website. And then the second way to get social networking penetration on your Joomla site is to add like buttons and that's what we've got on the conference website. Under each of the articles, you'll see a LinkedIn and a Twitter button, and people can then tweet and share with their friends straight away from the site, which has worked well for the conference. And there's been a lot of posts where there's been a number of retweets and links sent out. So the difference between those two is the first one is that people want to follow you, and the second one is that they want to tell their friends about something that they've seen on your site. So ideally what's going to happen is that if they do the first one, it means that they haven't had to come to your website to then hopefully tweet it off in the future. But the second one enables those that aren't following yet to instantly tweet something and get social media going. And so you end up with lots of backlinks, ideally, if you've got that combination and you've got an active following as such. So the next thing you can do is start automating your syndication of your content. There's a plugin called AutoTweet. Has anyone actually used that? The initial versions used to just tweet straight away as soon as you saved your article. I was talking to Tim last night, I think. And the new version lets you delay the tweet, so you've got a chance to quickly correct that typo that you spotted as soon as you published it. Or you can correct your set URLs and things like that before it goes. I use Twitter feed to syndicate most of my content. That's where you grab the RSS feed, you go to twitterfeed.com, and you add your social networks in there, and it gets scheduled to go and read from anywhere from 30 minutes to every 24 hours. Go and read your RSS feed, see if there's new articles, and if there are new articles, it'll tweet them, Facebook them, and LinkedIn post them. Hootsuite does something similar, that you can also set up an RSS feed on that. But the other thing that Hootsuite does is let you schedule tweets. And so last weekend I actually scheduled 25 tweets for the conference and 5 Facebook posts. And so they were able to come out during the week in a timely fashion, ideally when people were going to see them, or in the case of the few that I've done for the conference, they were scheduled to come out at the end of someone's presentation today. Yeah, right. So Facebook apps lets you join various protocols together and then be able to tweet from one to the other. So if you are following me, you end up with occasionally seeing different things. What I've had to do is set up posting. So I've actually got a Facebook personal page and a Facebook company page, and tweets about Joomla and things like that go to the company page, and normally not to the personal page, because I've got lots of friends that don't really get what Joomla is, and so they send me random posts going, what the hell are you talking about this time? So by separating that out so that I've got a branded company page means that that tidies up the process a little bit. Does anyone follow various RSS news feeds using something like Feedly or Flipboard or anything like that? So there's various ways. Google Reader is probably the one that sort of streamlines most of that. But that's another way to get your traffic out there if you put an RSS feed icon on your site. Yes, Max? Yeah. It depends on the type of traffic you've got. If you're following a blog and they've got FeedReader or FeedBurner, which is sort of the main one there, there's some blogs that still make a mozza out of having lots of feed followers as such. So there's one called Strobist, which is a huge photography site, and he's got 190,000 followers that read it. So it's an option, so I'm just throwing the options in there. Yeah. But the RSS itself is still a key part, because that's what the Twitter feed uses and the other parts of that. So yeah. If you've got time to read it, I use Flipboard now on the iPad, and so if you see, if you are following me on Twitter and you see interesting reading coming out as a hashtag, that's actually an automated tweet. It means that I've just called Instapaper, and then it publishes it straight away. LinkedIn's got similar things. Google Plus is a new player, obviously, but it's not as integratable at the moment because it doesn't have feed readers and things like that to post your feeds automatically. So you've still got to interact with it directly to get things going. So it's a bit frustrating, but it does have various levels of following, and we've now got a Joomla Australia community on there, so that's hopefully going to get a bit of use. For the Joomla user group, we're probably going to start doing Google Hangouts during the year, so we'll actually broadcast our user group sessions, or try to, and it's one of those things I've got to get going for a couple of clients, so it should come about this year. Does anyone use Pinterest? I've got a few people do. I've not gotten into it yet, but it's a different way of bookmarking. It's also, I've sort of thrown those last ones in because they're in our sort of purview in what we're doing with Saxton, but they have their own demographic as such. StumbledUpon's a big link sharing site, so that's got its own demographic as well. Instapaper and Paper.ly are two online newspaper services as such. So basically Instapaper takes things that you bookmark and turns them into an online newspaper. Paper.ly reads various news feeds and then finds articles that it thinks are applicable and puts those together as an automatic paper. So that's all the automate and syndicate areas there. No, I haven't seen that one.
It's sort of like a thing that create a wall that says if this happens, then do this.
Right.
And so it can go in and read all the RSS feeds and hashtags and distribute out to whatever other accounts you've got.
Yep, okay.
So it can create quite some complex walls.
Right. So sort of Google News, Google Alerts on steroids. Right. Okay. Okay. That was that one. Yep. So the next part is to interact and republish your content. So there's nothing, so there might not be anything wrong. Yep. There's nothing wrong necessarily with liking your own content. It's probably easier if you like the content you posted on the company page and your personal page if you really want to share it. What we'll be doing at Saxton is getting the consultants there once we post something on the Saxton Facebook page, ask them to go and like it, and that then creates reach, which is the metric that we're after there. Publish the link manually to other sources, so again it's the Google Plus and other sites. Posting things on forums to get interest in those if they're suitable. Again, that's can be classed as black hat if you're just posting spam as such, but if it's a relevant topic, then it should be all right. Commenting on content helps with promoting things at times. Basically, it works the same way as the forum does, so you can have a comment put in on a site. You'll probably find though that unless you've spoken with the webmaster or you know the place that you're commenting on, they will either disallow links or delete it shortly after you've posted it if it looks like it's spam. Share with others, so make sure that you're telling your network about the post at the same time as you're putting it out there. There's always going to be people that word of mouth might still be the best option, and you might end up with new followers if you've told the right people about something. Linking content through to other social networks is also helpful, so that's where if you tweeted something and you can get it to appear somewhere else, it probably works better with Facebook Post and Google Plus. And then approach your networks to share it. So that's what we're doing with the Saxton events. Is that we're going to approach the people that we're talking about to say, can you retweet it to share it with your network, so then you're getting the benefit of the promotion at the same time by doing it directly yourself. And then the other part is to have organic socialisation and such. So this is where, once you've got your content out there, people then go and see what they can do, and ideally if they like the content, they'll retweet it. So I'm working with the team for the 2016 Scout Jamboree, and over the last couple of weeks the 2013 Scout Jamboree was there. It was on up in Maryborough in Queensland. And the teams that were up there had about, I think we've got a combined total of about 12,000 followers, but there's a lot of duplication there. We started our Facebook page before Christmas and had 120 word of mouth people that knew the people that had set up the page and were the organisers, and their friends had all then followed. Last week it hit 1,200 followers, because at the end of the Jamboree there was a massive promotion, and all the kids that were at the Jamboree then have followed that. I haven't looked at it today, but it wouldn't surprise me if when we do the next thing, it then pushes it up, and I'll tell you what the reach was in a moment. So if you're allowing people to tweet from your page, then they can share the link when they find it online. If you post it on Google+, you'll have +1s appear, ideally, as people in your network and other networks see it. If you get the right person +1ing you, if it's the guy that started Google, you'll get 1 million people looking at it, which would always be nice. Share your content on LinkedIn, and you'll get your network seeing it, and their network seeing it, and their network seeing it. And so the possibilities there, if you're on LinkedIn and you look at how big your massive network becomes as friends of friends are counted, can be a couple of thousand. Like on Facebook, don't know, it needs to be said again. Pin it on Pinterest, mark it on StumbleUpon, mark it on Tumblr. Provide, sorry, that should be RSS feed subscriptions, so that's where people will be watching it organically, ideally. Then it comes down to the crux, and this is a sort of rinse-repeat thing. You need to plan what you want the social media to do, and so it's not just a case of writing a blog, it's a case of saying, okay, what do I want the blog link to then have happen to it? So you create the item there, then you distribute it. The influence that's there is problem with doing it at the last minute. So once you've distributed your content, the people that see it are the ones that are being influenced. If they're influenced enough, they might retweet it, like it, whatever. If they then distribute it to their networks, then you've got reach. And if anyone's got a a Facebook page, and you've got a insights graph, reach is the number of people that you've reached after the people that have seen the post have then done something to that. So if you've got a green line, which is the number of people that are talking about your post, the blue line is the one that is the important number, because that means that that's how many people have seen their post. And with the Jamboree site, 5 posts that we did on the 12th saw 743 people talk about it, and a net reach of 68,000 people saw that article once it's been retweeted. You need to then analyse whether the campaigns worked and see things like Facebook Insights, YouTube Insights for YouTube traffic. Twitter's a bit of a, so has anyone used any Twitter statistic sites that they know of? There's a few out there, but they're hard to find. Well, they're certainly not done through Twitter. And then once you've analysed it, you review the results and then see what happens, and then you start all over again with your next plan. And so that cycle continues. Sorry? Twitter's metrics in it? Yeah. There's some follower metrics that you can get. The site I thought I was using seems to have disappeared now. So, has anyone used Clout? So Clout's an app that tells you what your influence level is, and so it looks at the people that you influence and tells you what who they influence and things like that, and gives you a score based on how well you're doing with that. So that's something to look at as well. So that's me and all the social networks that I'm on. Some people say I'm over-connected, but feel free to contact me if you're after more information on how to get your Joomla site to social networks.